Kids who appreciate and understand the world in which they live in do so much better in life. Our kids will form a strong sense of identity. They will be able to express empathy towards others. They'll appreciate diversity and so much more when they understand culture and history. It's a good thing to do. This week, I'm going to teach about the 4 significant periods of music history. And we want to understand these through the historic and cultural perspective so that your kids grow and they learn new things here. Now, modern music history starts in about the year 1600 and it lasts until today, obviously. Now, in my last post, I discussed the characteristics of the first two, the Baroque and the Classical. Today, I want to get on to the last two. So the first one we want to talk about is the Romantic period. It starts in about 1820, lasted about 90 years, and the music from this time is really known for its extremes. Things just got bigger, like orchestras got bigger, symphonies got longer, emotions grew bigger, quiet sections got quieter, loud sections got louder. It was a time of extremes. Now, one of the composers who we really think of in this period is Beethoven, actually. Now, he was a classical composer, right? He was on my last post. Yes, that's true, but he really helped lead the transition to this new emotionally charged romantic era. And so he stands out in this way as just one of the greatest composers of all time. In the playlist, I've included the final movement to his Symphony Number 9, which is later in his life, and it really just highlights that storminess, the emotion that comes through, and then the dramatic change of it, because it starts off with this big stormy chord. It's super chaotic and it's like there's a big major thunderstorm going on, and then it quiets out, and then it finishes off with this huge beautiful triumph with the Ode to Joy part that everybody knows, of course. Now I've also included my favorite work of Beethoven's in this. It's his C sharp minor quartet. It's actually the last movement of it, and I get to pick, so I get to include my favorite things, right? Hope you enjoy that one as well. Now, next one is the first movement from Brahms's First Symphony. Johannes Brahms, he was another really important romantic composer, and he did a lot of really cool things with music as well. All I want to say about this one is listen for the drama in it. It's just so dramatic. Finally, with the Romantic era, I want to include Clara Schumann. She was a female composer from the 1800s and one of the most prominent composers really in the whole century there. Now, prior to Clara Schumann coming on the scene as a pianist as well as a composer, there were a lot of women who had careers as musicians, okay? That was not something new. But to be a notable female composer, that was fairly new. And so we want to take note of that as kind of the world was changing at this time too. Another important female composer in the 1800s was also Fanny Mendelssohn. Now you may have heard of her brother, Felix Mendelssohn. And so he became a little bit more famous than her, but part of it, I think, was that some of her works were attributed to him. When she sent it to the publisher, they printed his name on it instead of hers. That's not very fair, is it? All right, so enjoy the music from the Romantic era. On to the Modern era. So this starts about 1911. And the reason I'm going to say 1911 on this one is because the composer Arnold Schoenberg published a new book on music theories, how we understand music, And so what he really did in this book, he challenged all the rules that had been set up according to all the conventions that we had done. I also include a little bit of his music here. I have a 25-second piano piece, and you're going to listen to it. It's really short, easy to listen to because it's short. And you're going to say, hey, you know what? These notes don't fit together. Did he play the wrong notes? Or the rhythm is off or something like that? And yeah, that's actually exactly what he wants you to think on this one. That was part of what he was going for with this one. Okay, now another piece, another composer from the modern era, Igor Stravinsky. This is The Rite of Spring. You may have heard this one before. And it was written over 100 years ago, but it still sounds super modern in its approach. It sounds chaotic, and yet at the same time, it sounds organized. One of the key elements that kind of did transpire in the modern era was the use of rhythm as something to drive things forward, as opposed to just having melody kind of continue things forward. Anyways, that's a really good one. It was a ballet, actually premiered in Paris in 1913. Now, finally, I have one last song for today. It's called A Short Ride in a Fast Machine by John Adams. I think he wrote this in 1986. It's a really fun piece. And again, it doesn't use melody. It uses rhythm. And yet, it uses great harmonies and everything's happening around it. that it's just a super enjoyable piece. So this week has been a short ride through history for you, and I hope you appreciate each of these pieces for what they are, which is a glimpse back in time to understand how people enjoyed music and to understand how they embraced life and culture. So leave some comments down below and let me know how you and your kids are reacting to this music, if you're enjoying it, if it's boring you to death. Also be sure to share this post with your friends. By helping your kids understand classical music, you are doing so much for them. You don't even realize how far it's going to go in their life. Now, next week, I'm going to start taking you on a trip around the globe to explore how classical music is expressed differently in different cultures and different countries and in different time periods. So be sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, so that way you're notified when I do post new content. Also, sign up for my email list on my website. It's usually on the right-hand column. And because I finally got it so that you can get this delivered directly to your inbox twice a week. So I'll see you later. Enjoy the music.